Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode, I guess, of SA Smart Chats. My name is Natasha Wilkerson. I am the co-chair of SA Smart, the Mayor's K-12 Smart City Challenge. As you know, we're talking about water, and with me today is one of our experts about water, and we're going to talk to him. He is from SAWS. This is Greg Wukasch, who has 23 years of experience, has worked in the External Affairs Department, the San Antonio water system, beginning as an education coordinator and now as the External Affairs Manager. Greg really considers himself more of a storyteller, putting together water stories for citizens across the city he loves. He currently oversees both the customer assistant programs known as Uplift and the SAWS education team. Welcome, Greg. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. I appreciate you calling me a water expert. I also like to refer to myself as a water nerd because I absolutely am that. So,
well, I think through this competition and watching this whole series, the kids will also become water nerds, hopefully.
It's good. It's good.
And I love talking with everybody because now I know so much more than I ever thought I knew about water. And
I know there's a lot out there to learn, right? And you're seeing that little bit by little bit. Yeah.
I had no idea how complex water was. You just turn on the tap and out comes the water, and that's all the kids probably think about. And so the goal here is to tell them the story behind where that water comes from. So let's start with your first question here.
Sure.
And our topic is about access and equity. So who are the most vulnerable customers when it comes to utility bills and financial hardship?
Yeah, every city is facing these same challenges, and it's not just a COVID related challenge. Like a lot of people think that COVID has kind of put a spotlight on these issues in cities, but this has been going on a long time. In fact, the San Antonio water system, and I know we're going to talk probably a little more about this in a minute, but we've had assistance programs for over 20 years. And so your neighbors are the ones that we're talking about. Like this is not just a certain population in San Antonio. This population is scattered across the city. But the ones that are the most vulnerable to this, and we've seen through the years, are really elderly, especially elderly that are on fixed incomes, right? Because the costs continue to rise. They're on a fixed income, and water is an absolute necessity in life. And we have heard stories. My team has shared stories with me, literally, and I'm talking about right here in the San Antonio area, of elderly people who couldn't afford their bills and had their water turned off, and they did not realize that there was any assistance that was out there. And for a year or more, they carried buckets of water from their neighbor's house to their home to bathe with, to cook with, to drink with. And it sounds like it's something that would be happening at a developing country somewhere, right? But that's right here in our own city. And so that population is definitely at risk, and it is a population that we pay careful attention to for sure.
And so following up with that, when someone does have a financial hardship, how can SAWS support those customers?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things to talk about because we are in the business of leading. We are in the business of helping people for sure. And like I said, we've had programs at SAWS for over 20 years now. In fact, when you look across the nation, it's interesting. A lot of utilities, they're just now beginning their assistance programs. In fact, I get phone calls. Yeah, I get phone calls all the time from other cities, and I'm talking substantially, large cities that'll call and say, "Hey, we're looking at starting an assistance program. How do you start one? How do we build it the way San Antonio has?" And one of my responses always is patience. This is a long process. There's some real great strategies that you can do, but it's a long process of building something that that genuinely helps people in the community. So we a couple of years ago, we've had this affordability program, this program to help people in the community for, like I said, over 20 years, but we were calling it affordability. And I don't know, when I say that word, I don't know what comes to your mind when I say affordability programs, but there's a connotation there that is not necessarily a positive one. not to mention the fact that it's a real kind of a utilitarian word. So we decided to rebrand our assistance programs, and we now call them Uplift. And so when people ask, well, what are the programs that you offer? I always say, well, we have the Uplift program. And the tagline for that is helping neighbors in need. And we've even changed our terminology, where we're not even talking about really assisting customers as much as we're now talking about assisting our neighbors. Because as I mentioned to you earlier, these are our neighbors. These are folks that are, us, our own families that need the assistance, our neighbors that are literally next door, our relatives. And so we've made sure to take a real human approach to this, to make sure that we understand that these are not numbers, that these are real families. And I can tell you today that we are serving on a daily basis here in the San Antonio area. We are serving about 36,000 families every single day as part of these programs. They are receiving some kind of assistance from us in terms of being able to pay their water bills. So we do have a robust initiative. We have programs that help give them a monthly discount off their water bill. We have a program that if there is they need emergency assistance, like they just can't pay that water bill, we have a program called Project Agua that allows them to apply for and receive some money to help with that. And by the way, I'm going to put in a little quick plug, but that Project Agua program is funded by even outside contributors. We have hundreds of people in the community that will give $2 and $5 and $10 and more during the course of the year to help fund that Project Agua program, to be able to give that back into the community. So the students that are seeing this right now can even participate in that and figure out a way to maybe even donate to that cause. But we also have programs for veterans that have been wounded. We have programs for the elderly specifically that helps them out. And honestly, our Uplift initiative is 14 different initiatives at SAWS that we can help a customer or a neighbor out with. So it's pretty robust. And like I said, whenever we talk about Uplift at national conferences or whatever, people are like, wow, we haven't even started a program. And you're talking about 14 initiatives that you currently have that can help out a variety of different neighbors that are in need within the community.
Yeah. Well, that's really great. And I did not know about that program. And I think part of the challenge that maybe the students can tackle is this communication issue. And we talked to Ann Hayden earlier about marketing communication and how different age groups, you might have to use different strategies so that, person that didn't even know about the assistantship program, how do you get the message out? So what are some other challenges perhaps that these students can tackle that's related to equity in water?
Yeah, first of all, I love that. I love that if we could get the students involved in getting that message out and figuring out new ways of communicating. The young people of today are so adept at that. I've got three kids of my own, right? They're just, y'all are so great at doing that. And so any of those ways would be really helpful. But I'm going to talk about this in terms of what opportunities exist. I'm going to talk about it in terms of the processes that I think need to be established behind the scenes to help speed up the process of getting assistance to these neighbors. And let me just quickly explain what I mean by that. One of the big hiccups that every single assistance program has across the nation, and including us, is that you will have thousands of people who are applying for this assistance, but they have to fill out, of course, an application, right? Now, some applications depends on how set up the cities are. Some applications are still done paper-wise, and some applications, like ours, are built as an electronic form, and it's actually a smart form that does a lot of smart technology behind the scenes when one of our neighbors fills out the Uplift application. But it doesn't matter the application process. Almost every single program has to deal with income verification, right? So the customer who's filling out the application has to attach their income documents, how much they made last year, or how many people are in their household, or those kinds of things. And that's how we figure out whether they're qualified for the assistance or not, and what level that they're able to receive. Well, as you can imagine, thousands of people a year applying for an assistance program, those applications coming in. If you don't have a team or a process that speeds that up, it can become frustrating for those that need the assistance because they need it immediately, right? And they may be backlogged with a couple hundred applications waiting, and it could be a week or two before they could get that assistance. So the one area that I would love to challenge anybody watching this is to think through ways to help this population, this low-income population who needs the assistance. What are some ways that we can actually speed the process up of getting their application moved through? How can we move their application faster? They're going to have to attach income documents, so they're going to have income documents so that we can tell whether they can get in the program or not. But what ways can we do that? What smart ways can we look at doing that? That's better. And every city is sort of asking this question. They're fighting through this issue. And so I would love for the solution to come out of San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to share that with other cities. Yeah.
All right. If any team out there wants to tackle this challenge, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it would be beyond San Antonio if other cities are struggling with it.
Right.
And I love that you're bringing up other cities come to you and say, I really like this program. How can I replicate it? And so for students watching, if there's a specific issue you're trying to tackle, look at how other people are doing it and how we can replicate that and bring it to San Antonio. So we don't always need to reinvent the wheel, right? There's other people that maybe have figured out a better way.
Yeah, and I want to point something out on that. It was a really good point. A lot of our students that are here, maybe you're born and raised in San Antonio and you don't realize the fact that our city is a leader, not just nationally, but globally in terms of the way that we manage our water resources. Like we have all kinds of different organizations that come from around the world that tour our facilities, that come talk to our team. We've had people that have gone on our leadership team years ago. They went over to Israel to talk and talk to them about different technologies. The San Antonio water system, you should be proud of your utility because we are leading globally in terms of dealing with different water issues, from communication to technology to assistance programs to water resource issues, to all of that.
Yeah. So can you give some insight into that? What is it that we're the leader on? So to give kids a sense of what we do well.
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing a presentation in a couple of weeks on this idea that we are a city born of water. The reason that San Antonio is even here is because we have an Edwards Aquifer underneath us and springs that bubbled up that created a river that the explorers found, this beautiful river, and then decided to build missions and a community here. So we literally are a city that is born of water, but because we're also in a climate that doesn't get a whole lot of rain, we are then have to be use our ingenuity to figure out how do we sustain the water resource development for a growing city. And that's what we've done really, really well. We've taken that challenge on over the last 20, 25 years. And we've got what we call our conservation culture. I mean, y'all are just amazing. The students and the citizens of our city are just amazing at conserving water. We are probably one of the top 3 cities in the nation in terms of water conservation. We manage our water incredibly well, to the point that now we have a number of different water resources for our city, and we are set and secure to be able to grow and to be able to have enough water for the people who are coming to our city. We have enough water now for the next 80 to 90 years. Wow. And that has taken a lot of work and a lot of expertise and a lot of time. So people look at that, look at us and they say, gosh, y'all are in an area that doesn't get a lot of rain, and y'all have done an amazing job at how you've put these conservation together and water resources together. And that's one of the big ways that we have led. And that is just kind of, all of that has kind of gone into different areas, right? In terms of assistance or in terms of, infrastructure building. All of that mindset, a city born of water, is now part of kind of who we are as a city.
Yeah, I love it. So I just want to end with you just like exude passion for water. So what kind of drives that passion? Why are you just so excited? I mean, it seems like you love your job, you love working for SAWS. So tell me about that.
I do. Thank you for noticing that. I have been at SAWS for a little over 23 years now, and been doing this work. And people in the water business, you're asked this question a lot of times: did you choose water? Did water choose you? And about 97%, 98% of people will say that water chose them. Yeah, it's not something you necessarily think I'm gonna do when I grow up. I'm gonna be in water. But here's the thing that I really truly believe in, and I don't say this in a bragging way. I just say this in a matter of fact way because I really, really honestly believe it. And I think it's the source of my passion. Water is, in my opinion, the most important resource we have on planet Earth, right? I mean, obviously oxygen is the most important, but without water, a city cannot, you physically cannot live. A city cannot thrive. You have to have drinking water, but you also, something we don't think about, you have to treat sewage. You have to treat wastewater, and we do that. And historically speaking, cities have risen and fallen because of sanitation issues. So I say all that to say this, that if water is the most important issue that we have, if water is the most important resource that we have, and I work for an organization that's responsible for that water for the city of San Antonio, for drinking water and for the wastewater treatment, then I actually believe I work for the most important organization in the city of San Antonio. The work we do is work that truly, truly matters to people. And so, it's kind of easy to get up every morning when you're going to a job that you know that the work that you do is not something that, like, if we just don't do it really well, then everybody will be okay. Like, the work we do can in some cases, it's life and death work even, right? And health and safety in what we do. And so it's a big responsibility. But I love the challenge of that. And I'm not originally from San Antonio. I've been here for 25, 26 years, but I fell in love with this community. And I feel like the San Antonio water system is a leader in a multitude of different ways, not just in water, but in a multitude of different ways. And heck, I get to be a part of that every single day. And so, people have asked me, what's the secret of being there for so long? And that's kind of what I say is that, find a job that you're passionate about, but find a job that you're really making a difference in the world. And I think that really can sustain you over the long haul.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Greg, for joining us. I love your passion, your energy. I think kids are going to be excited about this after listening to you talk. So I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks. And if they need anything else, they can, I'm more than happy to help out who I need to help out. So
I appreciate that because we will be looking for mentors. So students, you heard it from Greg.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.